I used to believe that happiness was something I could catch, like a bird always flying just ahead of me. I thought if I worked harder, earned more, traveled further, or gained more recognition, then happiness would finally arrive and stay with me forever. But strangely, the more I chased it, the more it slipped away, leaving me exhausted and empty. Have you ever felt that tooth, that strange emptiness, after getting what you thought would make you happy? I remember sitting alone one evening, surrounded by things I once desired, yet feeling more restless than ever. That night, a question echoed in my mind. Why does chasing happiness make me so unhappy? It was then that I stumbled upon a teaching from Buddhism, and it shook me deeply. It said that happiness is not something out there waiting to be captured, is something already within us, but hidden beneath our endless desires. And once I began to understand this, everything about my life started to shift. There was once a man in a quiet village who was known to everyone as the wealthiest merchant. He had a house filled with gold ornaments, expensive fabrics, and rare treasures from distant lands. Yet, despite all that he possessed, he was never truly content. Every morning, he would wake up with a heavy heart, wondering what else he needed to buy, what new place he had to travel, or what new recognition he should chase to finally feel satisfied. One day, frustrated with his own restlessness, he decided to go on a journey to find the secret of happiness. He heard rumors of a wise monk who lived deep in the mountains. People said that those who met him often returned with a lightness in their hearts, as if they had discovered something priceless. So, determined to finally capture happiness, the merchant packed his finest clothes and rode for days through forests and rivers until he finally reached the monk's simple hut. The monk welcomed him warmly, offering him nothing more than a bowl of rice and a place to sit. The merchant, impatient, asked directly, "I have wealth, I have fame, I have everything that people dream of. Yet I am not happy. Please tell me how to find it." The monk smiled gently and handed him a shiny, empty bowl. Then he said, "Go to the river and fill this bowl with water. Bring it back without spilling a drop." Confused, the merchant took the bowl and went to the river. He dipped it into the flowing water, but as he carried it back, a little spilled each time. He returned again and again, determined to keep it full. Hours passed, and no matter how hard he tried, the bowl was never perfectly filled when he reached the hut. At last, exhausted and angry, he stormed back to the monk. "This impossible. The water keeps slipping away. Why give me such a foolish task?" The monk looked into his eyes and said softly, "This bowl is your mind. You keep running to the river of the world, trying to fill it with wealth, status, and pleasures. But no matter how much you carry back, it slips away, leaving you restless and empty. Happiness is not in trying to fill the bowl endlessly. It is in realizing that the bowl itself is already complete when you stop grasping. The merchant was struck silent. For the first time in his life, he felt the truth pierce through him like a clear ray of sunlight. He saw that his endless chase had been like carrying water in a leaky bowl. No matter how much he gathered, it was never enough. That night, he stayed in the monk's hut. There were no golden ornaments, no silk sheets, no servants to bring food. Yet, strangely, he slept more peacefully than he ever had in his grand mansion. The next morning, as the sun rose over the mountains, he realized something he had never understood before. Happiness was not something he had to chase. It was already here, in the stillness of his own heart, waiting to be seen. And from that day on, the merchant's life began to change. He still traded, he still lived in his home, but he no longer ran after every glittering desire. He had discovered the wisdom of letting go, and with that, he had found the happiness that had always been within him. What the merchant learned that day is at the heart of Buddhist wisdom. In our lives, we often assume that happiness exists out there in possessions, achievements, or the approval of others. We think that once we acquire a certain job, earn a certain amount of money, or gain recognition, we will finally feel complete. Yet Buddhism teaches that this constant pursuit, this endless grasping, is the very reason we remain dissatisfied. It is not wealth, praise, or comfort that brings lasting happiness. It is the state of our mind, the way we relate to the world and to our own thoughts and desires. Buddhism introduces the idea of impermanence, that all things are temporary. Everything we seek in the outside world, our possessions, relationships, even our achievements, will inevitably change or fade. Clinging to them creates suffering because we are holding on to what cannot remain forever. The merchant's leaky bowl was a perfect symbol. No matter how much he tried to fill it with water, it kept slipping away. The same happens with material gains or fleeting pleasures. The moment we try to make them permanent, dissatisfaction arises. Another crucial teaching is attachment. The mind becomes restless when it craves and clings, constantly imagining that fulfillment lies just one step ahead. When we attach our happiness to external conditions, we are putting it in the hands of impermanent things. Buddhism asks us to turn inward, to observe our thoughts and desires without judgment, and to cultivate awareness of the present moment. True contentment arises not from possession, but from understanding the nature of the mind and letting go of attachment. The monk's instruction also reflects mindfulness. By focusing on the bowl and recognizing the futility of overexertion, the merchant began to see clearly. Mindfulness is about being present, observing reality as it is, and finding peace in that awareness. When we stop endlessly chasing what we do not have, and instead rest in the present, we start to experience the quiet joy that is always available. This joy is not loud or flashy, but subtle, steady, and unshakable. Ultimately, the lesson is simple, yet profound. Happiness is not found in accumulation or pursuit. It is found in acceptance, in releasing, grasping, and in realizing that our mind, when at peace, is already complete. The chase itself creates unhappiness. Letting go opens the door to a life of calm, balance, and enduring satisfaction. The merchant had spent his life running after the illusion of happiness. But by turning inward and understanding the teachings of impermanence, attachment, and mindfulness, he discovered that what he had always been searching for was never truly. Outside it was within him all along. Buddhism does not promise constant euphoria, nor does it encourage laziness or detachment from life's responsibilities. Instead, it offers a path to wisdom, showing that by seeing the true nature of desire and practicing mindful awareness, we can live with clarity and peace even amidst life's uncertainties. The real freedom comes from letting go of the endless chase, from realizing that fulfillment is not a distant prize, but a state of being accessible at any moment. If we learn to stop grasping and simply observe the flow of life with a calm and open heart in our everyday lives, the wisdom of the merchant's story is surprisingly practical. Think about the times when you scroll endlessly through social media, comparing your life with others, wishing you had what they have: better vacations, a higher paying job, or more recognition. Each scroll and each comparison is like trying to fill a leaky bowl. No matter how much you see or achieve, satisfaction slips away the moment you stop looking. The pursuit itself becomes exhausting, leaving a sense of emptiness that feels impossible to fill. Even in relationships, the same pattern occurs. We often expect others to provide us with happiness, affection, or validation. When they fail to meet these expectations, we feel disappointed or resentful. Buddhism teaches that placing the responsibility for our happiness on external circumstances or people is inherently unstable. Real joy comes from understanding our own mind, observing our reactions, and learning to let go of expectations. By practicing this, we can experience love and connection without being overwhelmed by neediness or attachment. mindfulness, and small daily practices can help us apply this wisdom in tangible ways. For example, starting the day with a few minutes of mindful breathing allows us to center ourselves and notice our thoughts and desires without immediately acting on them. Journaling about 3 things we are grateful for each day reminds us that contentment is not about chasing more, but appreciating what already exists. Even pausing before reacting to frustration or anger can help us realize that happiness is not dependent on external events. Another application is in our work or ambitions. Many of us believe that achieving a certain goal will finally make us happy. A promotion, a new house, or a big accomplishment. But Buddhism encourages us to pursue goals with awareness rather than desperation. By focusing on effort rather than outcome, we can find satisfaction in the process itself. The key is not renouncing life or ambition, but removing the pressure of constant grasping. When we approach work and life with this mindset, the same task that once felt stressful or hollow can become meaningful and even joyful. Even simple moments like walking in nature, drinking tea, or spending quiet time with a loved one can become sources of genuine happiness if we are present. The merchant learned that night in the monk's hut that peace and contentment do not require grand possessions or achievements. In real life, this translates to recognizing that happiness is often found in the small, ordinary moments experienced fully and without clinging. Ultimately, applying this wisdom means noticing the endless chase in our own lives and gently shifting our focus inward. It means observing our desires without being controlled by them, finding stillness in the present, and appreciating what we already have. By doing so, we stop trying to pour water into a leaking bowl and instead discover that our mind itself is capable of holding a quiet, steady happiness that does not depend on anything outside. In practical terms, this approach reduces stress, strengthens relationships, and allows us to live with a calm clarity that makes even challenges feel manageable. This is not a quick fix, but a lifelong practice. Each moment we remember to pause. Each time we choose awareness over frantic pursuit, we are training ourselves to experience the kind of deep, lasting contentment that Buddhism has taught for thousands of years. Like the merchant, anyone can discover that happiness is not a distant treasure. It is a living reality that emerges when we stop chasing and start observing, appreciating, and being fully present in the life we already have. Looking back, I realize that chasing happiness was like running after the wind, moving, never catching. The merchant's journey taught me that true contentment is not found in possessions achievements, or constant striving. It is found in stillness, in the present moment, and in letting go of attachment. Happiness is not a distant prize to earn. It is already within us, waiting to be noticed when we stop grasping and simply observe life with awareness. Deeper. Message is simple yet profound. Peace and fulfillment are born not from chasing, but from understanding, accepting, and embracing the quiet abundance that exists inside our own hearts.